Hey, it's Tigman. Time for this week's edition of the Metal Box, our weekly discussion on all things hard rock and heavy metal. This week we got an exclusive interview with bassist Jeff Pilson. Jeff Pilson, of course, back in the day with 80s metal band Dokken. Huge Dokken fan growing up in the 80s. And for the past 13 years, he's been the bassist for Foreigner. And Foreigner is celebrating their 40th anniversary. They've got a new collection out on CD, and they're on tour on their 40th anniversary tour. It's going to hit SPAC this coming Tuesday, July 18th. We talked about a bunch of topics, including Dokken and everything going on with Foreigner. Check out the interview right here. We got Jeff Pilson, bassist for Foreigner, on the line with us. Great to talk with you, Jeff. We're excited about you guys coming to upstate New York and SPAC on Tuesday, July 18th.
Me too. Me too. Great to be here and really looking forward to the show.
40th anniversary for Foreigner.
I know. You know what's great is that Cheap Trick was on the road with Foreigner just about 40 years ago, so it's great having them open. And, you know, of course, Jason Bonham, who opens the show, he was in Foreigner from 2004 to 2008.
It's like it all comes full circle, right?
So it's a big family reunion.
That's awesome. Obviously, you've been with the band for about, I think, 13 years. You've been with Foreigner so far, and I've seen you at least half a dozen times with the band. Great energy you bring to the band. When I heard Jeff Pilson from Dokken was joining Foreigner, I said, "Oh, this is awesome." It's great. And, you know, before Foreigner, before you joined Foreigner, of course, you were with Dokken. I'm a huge fan of Dokken, and I know I want to just talk about that just a little bit. I know you were reunited with your former bandmates in Dokken last year for some reunion shows. How was it?
You know what? It was way more fun than I expected.
Really?
Yeah, no, it was great. We got along good. It was very productive. The fan response was really wonderful, really made it worthwhile. And, you know, we ended up coming up with quite a product. We have a live DVD coming out by the end of the year that's got live shows. You know, it's taken from shows in Japan and the one show that we did over here in the U.S., and then we did a new song, which came out amazing.
Nice.
And then we did two acoustic remakes of old Dokken classics that came out really incredible. We did that in the studio together. So a lot of good came out of that, and it was just a wonderful experience. I was shocked.
Yeah, well, you know, Dokken fans were waiting for years for that. It was always talk, is there going to be the Dokken reunion? Is it going to happen? Then it finally does, and you did a string of dates in Japan. Like you said, you did the one U.S. date. What was the decision to not do more U.S. dates? Because, there were people that were like, oh, come on, why aren't you playing? I want to see you in New York. I mean,
Yeah. Well, it was down to time, really.
Yeah.
This Foreigner gig is very full time for me. So
sure.
It's really hard to. It's just to make the time for it is because it's a commitment when Dokken has to do something. Well in advance, I knew that I was going to have the 3 weeks that we had off with Foreigner, and so Japan had asked us if we could come over. So when they found out that I had that particular time, they actually got a copy of the Foreigner schedule and built the schedule around that.
Oh, wow.
So, it was impossible to say no, and we wanted to do it anyways, and the fact that the Japanese promoter made it so easy for us, it all just fell together. So, it would have to be a confluence of a lot of events to make it happen again, because things are so tricky with time. But,
sure.
We'll see. At least what we did was great, and we had a good time, and that was a big step for us.
Well, we look forward to the DVD and checking out that new track for sure. That should be really cool. Also wanted to ask you quick about playing with Ronnie James Dio. We just passed what would have been his 75th birthday, the legendary metal singer. And, of course, everybody misses Ronnie. Is it true? Was he like one of the nicest guys in the industry?
Yeah, that's very true. He was a very, very dear friend. And there's very rarely a day that goes by that I don't think of him at some point. Still have dreams about him and stuff. He was just a wonderful. Yes, he was probably one of the greatest metal singers ever. Mm-hmm. Yes, he was a great songwriter and great musician and great band leader and all that kind of stuff. But he was also just this amazing human being, and I really miss that. It's hard to believe. It's still hard to believe he's gone, even though it's been 7 years.
Right. Right, and we still have his music, though. We're still cranking the music whenever possible. Just a great body of music he had with his solo with the Sabbath and with Rainbow and stuff. Just great stuff. So that must have been cool to be a part of, to be perform with him.
It was a very, very wonderful experience in my life that I will always treasure and never never lose sight of because it was great.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about Foreigner. Of course, you said it. This is basically a full-time gig for you. These guys are always touring, and you're a huge part of the band now. I love Kelly Hansen on vocals.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's just an amazing singer. And I like how, with the 40th anniversary, that Mick and everybody has invited former members like Lou Gramm and the other guys to come back for certain shows if they'd like to and perform.
Great.
I think it's awesome. I mean, what better way to celebrate that body of music over 40 years than to bring them guys back?
God, those guys were really important parts of it.
Absolutely.
And they're wonderful guys. I mean, I have so much respect and a lot of love for the old band. And they're just great people and great musicians, and they accomplished something pretty damn amazing. And those records are so special.
They are.
And they all were important in those. So it's a great thing.
You recently released the 40th anniversary collection 2-CD set that's out celebrating the 40th anniversary, and you're touring all summer. You just kicked off the tour in Syracuse. How did that go? Just the other night.
Oh, it was fabulous. Fabulous. Great first night. I watched all of Jason Bonham's show, which was amazing.
Isn't he great? I've seen that show so many times, and it gets better every time. Yeah.
I saw it several years ago, and it's just as great as ever, if not better. And plus, I love Jason personally, and his bass player Michael is a very, very good friend of mine. And they're all great guys. Singer and guitar player are fabulous. They're a great bunch of people. It's a great way to open the show. I mean, how can you go wrong with 50 minutes of Led Zeppelin?
You can't. You really can't. And then you get Cheap Trick after that.
And then you get Cheap Trick, who are. I watched as much of them as I could before I had to go change and everything, but my God, they're a great band.
Yep.
I
awesome.
mean, I love the fact that we got these great bands. It kicks you in the ass, man.
Yeah.
It's a great thing. It's what makes an event special and magical. And, Cheap Trick are as good as you get.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are. They're just, between the songs, the energy, Robin's voice.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and Rick Nielsen's guitar sound.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow. And, of course, I'm huge fan of Tom Peterson with his 12-string bass, which is amazing.
Exactly.
So I mean, it's for us, it's such a wonderful, wonderful night. And anyway, so just having fun with that, man. And then we got to go out for 90 minutes and rock the place, and it just doesn't get any better than that.
It's great that the band, 40 years, and you could still go out and pack amphitheaters in the summertime and everywhere
amazing,
you play.
Isn't it?
It really is.
It's a testament to Mick Jones's music, is what it is.
No question.
Those songs have held up well. The recordings held up well, and those songs resonated with people, and that's the ultimate. When you're an artist, that's what you shoot for. So it's a pretty magical experience. And Mick's got his book on sale, which is pretty cool. And God, is that ever interesting?
Yeah, I want to read that. That's the next autobiography I want to pick up for sure.
Yes.
I mean, that looks like a great read.
Oh, he's got such a great. I mean, I've probably heard a lot of the stories along the way, but my God, what an interesting life he's had.
Didn't he learn some guitar work from Jimi Hendrix? Is that true?
That is exactly true. He learned how to play the intro to Hey Joe from Jimi Hendrix on a little tour bus that they were sharing because Jimmy was opening up for a band that Mick was in at the time, and they would all travel in a little bus. And I'm not talking about fancy tour buses like today. I'm talking about something that looks a lot like a school bus.
Yeah.
And there's Mick and Jimmy sitting in the little seats, and Mick is like, "Oh wow, I love the intro to that new song of yours. Can you show me how you do it?" "Oh, no problem, Mick. Here you go."
Oh man, how many people could say they got the word? Oh my God!
Let me tell you another Mick Jones story.
Yeah.
It is so ridiculously cool that I love it. He was in the room at the Olympia or at the George V Hotel in Paris.
Okay.
The night that they received the telegram from Brian Epstein saying that "I Want to Hold Your Hand" had gone to number one.
Oh my God! Wow.
He was in the band that was opening for them at the Olympia Theater in Paris. He was playing with an artist called Sylvie Vartan, who was quite a huge French artist. And,
yeah.
Still around, actually. But anyway, and he was in the band, and he had befriended the Beatles because they overheard him talking. They go, "Oh, wow, an Englishman." So they said, "Yeah, come on, you got to come drink with us and everything." So he had been hanging around with them the last couple of weeks. It was a 2 or 3 week run that the Beatles were on.
Okay.
And so he happened to be up drinking and partying with them in the hotel room when they got the telegram.
That is
How
unreal.
How amazing is that?
I have to read this book. I mean, if that's probably just a couple of snippets of what Mick's experienced throughout his career.
His life is so interesting. It's great.
All right, well, we'll pick that up. Look at you, Jeff, pushing Mick's book for him. I mean, I'm sold. I'm buying it. I'm buying it. We've been speaking with Jeff Pilson, bassist for Foreigner, and of course, from Dokken back in the day, and of course, we had the reunion shows. Maybe we'll see something again with you guys again, with you and Don and Mick and George again. You never know. We will see you, though, Tuesday night, SPAC.
Yes, you will.
40th anniversary tour. It's Foreigner, Cheap Trick, Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Experience. You can get all the info, get your tickets.
Kick-ass show.
Cannot wait, Jeff. You guys always bring it every time, so this is going to be awesome.
Yep. Thanks for chatting with us, man. See you Tuesday.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And that'll do it for this week's edition of the Metal Box. Thanks for tuning in. The rock and roll limo has arrived. We'll see you next week.